The night holds a profound and almost mystical power that the vast majority of humanity completely and utterly wastes. Every single evening, while millions of people go to bed carrying the heavy burdens of debt, the exhausting weight of daily worries, and deeply rooted financial fears, there exists a very small, quiet group of individuals who use those final conscious minutes of the day for something radically different. This is a profound spiritual law, a truth that transforms human consciousness while the physical body rests in slumber. Through years of dedicated study into the spiritual mechanics of the human mind, particularly the highly receptive moments just before sleep, a powerful revelation emerges. Those final minutes, right before you close your eyes and drift into unconsciousness, are unequivocally the most powerful moments of the entire day for impressing eternal, spiritual truths upon the deep mind. During the day, your intellect stands guard like a rigid sentinel, questioning and doubting everything. But as sleep approaches, those rigid mental defenses finally relax. The subconscious mind throws its heavy doors wide open. Whatever thought or concept enters in that brief, sacred instant of transition is recorded with a magnitude and depth that absolutely no other moment of the waking day can equal or replicate. What is revealed here to the most committed students of truth is a highly specific practice of sacred writing. This does not require prolonged, exhausting meditation, nor does it ask for complex, elaborate rituals that confuse the mind. It requires only the simplest of actions, taking a physical notebook, a pencil, and writing 2 highly charged, specific words exactly 12 times consecutively, just before you surrender to sleep. These 2 words contain the entire foundational philosophy of divine abundance, condensed into its purest, most undiluted, and most powerful form. Those 2 extraordinary words are infinite abundance. What begins to happen in the inner mind, and subsequently in the outer life, of the individual who writes these words with genuine faith every single night for 21 consecutive days defies all conventional, rational explanation. Make no mistake, this is not mere wishful spiritual theory. This is the absolute science of consciousness applied with mathematical precision. To truly comprehend why this sacred practice yields such undeniable results, it is absolutely necessary to understand the precise relationship between the 3 distinct levels of your awareness: the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the divine mind. The average human being operates simultaneously on these 3 levels, yet tragically, most people only ever work consciously on the superficial surface level, completely ignoring the 2 deeper and infinitely more powerful realms of their own existence. The conscious mind is the surface level. It is the part of you that analyzes, argues, reasons, and makes logical, calculating decisions during your waking hours. It is highly useful for navigating the physical world, but it is fundamentally limited. It goes to sleep when your body goes to sleep. It cannot reprogram itself directly. It desperately needs specific, deliberate tools to communicate its desires to the deeper levels where the real, permanent transformations of human experience actually occur. Beneath that lies the subconscious mind, which is infinitely more powerful than your conscious intellect. Your subconscious controls 90% of your automatic behaviors, your deep-seated decisions, and the magnetic attractions of your life. The subconscious mind does not reason, it does not argue, and it does not judge whether a thought is good or bad, true or false. It simply accepts and executes with perfect, unyielding fidelity whatever it receives with sufficient repetition and emotional weight. It is the fertile garden soil where all the mental seeds you plant must inevitably grow and bear fruit according to their kind. Finally, there is the divine mind. This is the universal consciousness, the mind of the Creator, where all abundance already exists in a state of perfect and complete reality. The human subconscious acts as the natural, vital bridge between your limited personal mind and the completely unlimited divine mind. When you successfully reprogram your subconscious with absolute truths of abundance, you automatically and effortlessly open a wide channel to the infinite provision that God has already prepared for every human being since the dawn of creation. Writing possesses a unique, penetrative power that simple spoken repetition simply does not possess. This was discovered by closely studying the spiritual habits of individuals who had experienced genuine, lasting financial transformations. When you sit down and write something by hand, you are forcing your being to focus. You simultaneously engage your conscious mind, your physical muscle memory, your visual sight, and your concentrated intention. You are directing 4 distinct channels of programming to act at the exact same time upon the receptive subconscious. Sacred writing is akin to carving a permanent message in solid stone, rather than merely whispering it into the passing wind. Spoken words leave a temporary impression, but words physically written with focused intention leave a profound, indelible mark. As your hand slowly traces the letters of infinite abundance 12 consecutive times, every single repetition deepens a spiritual and neural groove. It builds a solid bridge connecting your personal, waking consciousness with the eternal spiritual truth of divine prosperity. Nighttime writing carries an extraordinary advantage that morning practice simply cannot match. Immediately after writing these 12 repetitions, the practitioner goes to sleep. During those hours of slumber, entirely free from the negative interference of the waking ego and the cynical, critical mind, the subconscious works tirelessly all night long. It processes, it integrates, and it builds the invisible spiritual bridges toward the physical manifestation of that newly planted truth. The quiet night becomes the perfect period of uninterrupted germination. Consider the practical demonstration of Sophia, a woman living in Veracruz who managed a small, family-owned stationery shop. The business merely survived, it never truly prospered. The profitable months barely covered the losses of the slow ones. Sophia worked with exhausting dedication and absolute honesty, yet genuine abundance seemed to constantly and cruelly elude her grasp. A friend introduced her to the profound teachings of sacred writing and divine prosperity. Sophia was a woman of faith, but her mind was also highly practical. Her conscious intellect struggled to believe that merely writing 2 words 12 times could somehow alter her concrete financial reality. However, the spiritual logic resonated perfectly within her deep mind. She recognized that this was not magic, it was a universal law of consciousness, and universal laws, when applied correctly and consistently, work for everyone, without any exception whatsoever. On her very first night, Sophia took a brand new notebook and carefully wrote infinite abundance 12 times, before turning off her lamp. Initially, she performed the action somewhat mechanically, with natural doubts circling her mind. But upon reaching the 7th repetition, she felt something distinctly different. A highly unusual calm, a small but intensely real certainty that something foundational was shifting deep within her interior, even though her external shop remained exactly the same for the moment. She persisted. Upon successfully completing her 21 consecutive days of practice, Sophia received a completely unexpected proposal from a major supplier, offering her the highly lucrative regional exclusivity of a school product line with massive demand. Her previously stagnant income tripled within 3 short months. The law had proven itself perfectly. A transformed consciousness inevitably attracts opportunities that were entirely invisible to the fearful mind. If this profound teaching is touching your heart and awakening your spirit to the truth of your own supply, leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel to continue receiving this transformative wisdom every single week. Prosperity consciousness is not mere superficial optimism, nor is it the forced, exhausting effort of positive thinking. It is something much deeper. It is the sincere, undeniable recognition of an eternal spiritual truth. Abundance is the very nature of God. Because you are an expression of that divine source, you have a divine right to experience that abundance in your material life. It is not a special privilege reserved for a lucky few. It is your natural spiritual inheritance. Writing the words infinite abundance 12 times each night works directly upon this internal conflict. Every single written repetition is a firm declaration that tells the subconscious mind, "This is my true reality, not the scarcity my physical eyes might currently see, not the fear that my memory recalls, but the infinite abundance that the divine mind has already established as my permanent spiritual reality." When his son introduced him to this practice of nighttime writing, Thomas naturally reacted with the skepticism of a practical man. The idea that writing 2 words could somehow alter his bank account seemed completely naive. Yet he agreed to try it. Every night before sleeping, Thomas took his notebook and wrote infinite abundance 12 times. He did it slowly, mentally pronouncing every single syllable as his rough hand traced the letters. He discovered that intentional slowness is far more powerful than mechanical speed, allowing the truth to penetrate deeply into the resistant subconscious. By the 3rd week of this consistent practice, a prominent city architect contacted Thomas out of nowhere for a high-level remodeling project. The budget for this single job was 5 times larger than any work Thomas had ever contracted in his entire life. That first project effortlessly led to 3 more of similar magnitude. The limiting, deeply ingrained belief that had governed and restricted his financial life for decades was entirely dissolved, completely replaced by a new, operative consciousness of natural, deserved abundance.